Hey riders, welcome back to Bronx Brothers Motorcycles. Today I'm wrenching on my new to me beast and throwing on the Chigee AIO 5.0 Lite. That's right, full CarPlay on two wheels. I'll show you how I set it up, test it out, and give you the real talk. And hey, stay locked in because we got big rides, gear drops, and wild content coming up. Let's do this. Alrighty, so here we are. We're going to be going over some of the upgrades that I have for my new bike, new to me. So I ordered the bad timing, but I ordered the Chigee AIO 5.0. And wouldn't you know it, this week the AIO 6.0 came out. So I have it mounted, but I don't have any of the wires. I did get the one with the cameras and the whole shebang. I ordered this bar here from Touratech, which I installed. I think you can see it there. Not a cheap item, but I was looking at others that were less expensive, and word was they bend, and this one's solid. So I bought the good one. Now you see this bolt coming out here. So I want to put my GoPro mount on that. So I went out and bought a larger bolt, a longer bolt, so that I can put a mount such as this little arm here on this, and then put the camera up on top of that, and it's a more straight shot of the camera rather than having it angled from the handlebar. I'll give you a visual. Rather than having it like that, it's going to be more like that, so it's not going to be up to catch me. So I will be putting one of these mounts here for my camera. That's why I bought that longer bolt. I did buy the upgraded version of the Chigee, the one with the cameras. I bought the, I forgot what they call this piece. I threw the box out. Don't need it, but the only thing I can say is I hope it works, because it's not for this bike, but the connection does work. This is the OBD port, and the OBD port only has 4 prongs coming out, and the Chigee needs 6. So I hope it gets the information that it needs. Who knows? We'll find out. So that was 75 bucks. It's a 75 bucks test I'm doing. Have to take the tank off. This is the tank. As previously stated, I test fitted my tank bag, and I put this piece of Velcro over here to strap it, so when I'm going to put fuel, I just release that. There's my gas tank. There's my gas tank cap, and then with 2 hands, because I'm holding the camera, I can then put this through there. Everything is harder with one hand, and clip this here. Boom. And I'll have my little tank bag for essentials. What else? I am considering not taking the hard panniers, saddlebags, whatever you want to call them. I call them saddlebags. What I say, I call them saddlebags, but actually what I call them is panniers saddlebags, because I constantly refer to them as both things. For people in Europe, maybe Canada, they're panniers, and usually on European bikes, because even for the BMWs, and for us Americans, they're saddlebags. So I have that one over there. That's on top of my FXR back seat. It's just sitting there, but that's what I'm considering taking, along with a top case. And a top case, this is the top case that came with the bike. I'm considering doing that. I do have this little pouch, and I bought a bigger one for the other side here, which will store my rain suit as well as some tools. I didn't want to buy both of them, and I'm considering whether I should or not. I have that little bag there. But the thing is, I don't want to make this bike too heavy, because for an old guy, picking up a bike 2 or 3 times if I have to, I don't know if it's going to be, you know, this is I'm headed out there the 29th, so on the 30th, I don't know what the weather is going to be like. It could be raining, it could be dry, you know. If it's really muddy, I may be slipping and sliding and dropping the bike. So one thing I want to hear from you guys, I need your opinion. For those of you who have done off-road, this is the tire, and I don't know if the camera does it justice, but I am considering getting a new front tire. And the thing is, because I'm going to order it online, I'm not seeing it in person. I don't know if the threads, or whatever you want to call this, is much bigger, or if that is sufficient for what I plan on doing, the Mid-Atlantic BDR. And I'm only going to do one section. There's 9 sections to the Mid-Atlantic BDR, but I have a short week because I have to be back Wednesday evening. So that gives me just Monday to do that, Tuesday to hang out with my buddies, and then Wednesday I will be returning back. So it's only going to be 1 day of dirt. Now, looking at my GS, which by the way I have sold, I put it on the market and it sold in 24 hours. Not even, it was more like 20 hours. But you know, looking at those knobbies are nice and big and chunky. And I look at that tire, and I'm not too sure if I have enough meat on here for that. So I'm kind of 50-50. And then I have a buddy of mine, Ronnie, and I was telling him the situation, and he goes, "You're going to end up buying a tire. I know you." In other words, I don't settle for, you know, second best or whatever. I mean, it's not that I don't settle for second best. I'm going to, you know, settle on what's safest always. So that's where I'm at right now. So I would like you guys' opinions on that. Let me see if I can give you a good shot of it. Those of you who ride off-road, do you think that's a good tire to go off-road with? I ordered the fuel pump, which my understanding on these bikes, it goes out. That's the first thing that's going to happen to this bike. So I went ahead and ordered that. That should be coming in tomorrow. Other than that, the oil change is good. It's just, I'm taking tools. I got my GPS. I'm going to take these off and put the bag back there, that bag that I just showed you, and see how much stuff I can hold. I need to carry 1 pair of pants, an extra pair of shoes. The worst part of it is that I'm going to have my off-road boots, and they are not going to fit in that bag because they are big boots. They're not quite motocross boots, they're big stiff boots. They're trials boots made by Gaerne. In my opinion, that's one of the most important pieces of equipment, second to the helmet, is having good boots when you're riding off-road. So that's where I'm at. So I have to take the tank off to run the wires, to run a camera to the back, and I don't want to just loop it. I want everything proper. So I'm going to remove the tank, and while I'm at it, I'm going to clean underneath the tank, clean the bike underneath the tank, which is just going to get dirty after I go up to that BDR. And that is it. As far as suspension setup, I don't know enough about that right now. I'm hoping that just before I head out, I'm able to hit some bumps and things and see if my suspension is going to bottom out. I'm a lightweight. I weigh about, on any given day, 168, around there. So about 170 pounds. Not really heavy, not super light, but so I don't know. I'm gonna take it for a ride. There's a dirt road right behind my house. I could take it there, but more than anything, I'm looking for bumps, because in my experience, that's what I encountered last time, was a lot of ruts. And yeah, they were quite deep. And when you're rolling, you're either gonna go over it or you're gonna slam on your brakes. In gravel and in dirt, that's not a good idea. So it's just a matter of keep going. So that's what I have. So I'll show you a few bits and pieces. I do plan on putting a loom on this instead of just having those wires like that. The other thing is, those of you who are familiar with this bike, there is a hole under here that the speedo that this gauge has, that this gauge uses, and it goes under there and into the frame. So I'm not going to run these wires through here or whatever. I'm going to put it through that hole. I want to do things right, and that's going to be permanently mounted there. I also purchased this mount, so, and I purchased the bigger windscreen, which I have to test fit here in a minute. But let me get started and see how far I get. The main thing I'm trying to do today is take that gas tank off. And it is, I believe, half a tank. Yeah, it's a little bit more than half. So that's about 3 gallons. Shouldn't be too terrible. Heat index today over 100. I forget how hot it was. Let me find out right here. The feel like temperature was well over 100. Very hot. Jumped in the pool with the wife and my daughter. Try to cool down. Anyway, so we're back at it with the KTM. Update. What I have to do is take the tank off, put a fuel pump on. I hope I can get to all of these things. And change a front tire. Those are my 3 projects for this bike. Today is Monday. Monday is pretty much gone. It is 8:40. I have tomorrow a full day. I can't work on it tomorrow, so I have 4 days I could work on it. I think I could get it done. I will say the heat is exhausting, so that doesn't help, because as you can imagine, I still have a job. So that's what I did all day, is doing what I do work-wise. Even though I work out of my house, I wasn't able to take time and work on the bike. So here I am. I have to take the tank off so that I can run all of the wiring and the camera wires for my CarPlay, my Chigee CarPlay. For those of you, if you have a KTM, when you remove this tank, there's the cutoff valves right here underneath the tank. These hoses right here connect to a cutoff valve, and because the tank on this bike comes low down here for low center of gravity, right, the tank comes down here and it covers all this. So there's a crossover line right here to equalize the fuel so that it can go from one side to the other. The fuel pump is on that side. So basically the fuel from this side of the tank can get to the fuel pump. But it has these little valves. Let me show them to you right now, these things. So, you know, I close those and I pull the hose on it. I close this by hand, and when I pull the hose off, fuel is pouring out. I know it's not smell-o-vision, but it smells like gas very strongly in here right now. because a lot of fuel came out. So it has that same valve on the other side. And because it's a crossover line, when I pulled it, this one was leaking as well as that one. So what it took was for me to tighten it with a plier until I felt it like kind of hit bottom. And I thought by hand I had felt it hit bottom, but apparently you have to go even more. That's what caused all the fuel to pour out. So it's dry now because it's been a few minutes, but I had a little lake of gas over there. And once I pull the hose, I was trying to put it back, and oh man, it's a mess. So I have to take a shower. I smell like gas. I got gas on my feet. Right now where I'm at is I'm running the wires. I have to take off the tack off, and then I could run the wires for my Chigee through here. Okay, so what I've done is I sent the wires down through here, as you can see. So the Chigee wires are no longer going to be through exposed. They're going down through that hole. I remove the gauge cluster completely. It has a plug. I unplugged it. So that's out of the way. Okay, so what do we got today? So I've installed the camera. This wire I ran underneath here, comes out here. It's actually going to go in the headlight. All of this stuff, as you can see, if you have a 1090, this is where your wires for your accessories are. So there's other videos that explain how it goes wired. Basically, you have a positive and a negative, which is the accessory number 1, and then accessory number 2 is a keyed accessory. So in other words, when you shut the switch off, the unit will shut off. And what accessory 1 does is, if your unit has alarm and other features that I don't remember what they are right now, but there's always power going to the unit. The third yellow wire is to shut it off. So when you shut the switch off, it's going to turn off, but there is still power going to it. I think that makes sense. And for those of you that don't know, these units you can actually get cell service for and not have to use your phone. And that'll run your GPS, a alarm if anybody moves your bike. It has a few other features that I'm not familiar with, but giving you a breakdown of what it does. So anyway, but as you can see, this is the hole that I sent the wires through, and everything is now going to go in here. I took the headlight off. There's just 2 screws. Took the headlight off. That's the headlight. Goes in there. There's plenty of room in there for your wires. Now let me show you how I routed the wires in the back for the back camera on this bike, which was pretty simple. You can see there I have it mounted just under the tail light, and I ran the wire under here. Now you have to loosen this piece. Took this off, so I took the if yours doesn't have this rack, then you take these 4 bolts off. This cover doesn't come off all the way, but it will be loose to where you can lift the edge. And then there is a Torx bit right here. See it there? I think you can see that. That Torx bit, you remove that, and that allows you to move this flap, and you can run the wire through there. You can see my wire here now. So that is how I ran the back camera. So in my opinion, it's pretty clean, you know, pretty clean setup for running that wire. It is hidden now, and that's it. It's not going to be flapping all over the place, and that's what you want. You don't want your wires to be loose and in the way. If you drop the bike, or even, I don't know, washing it, you just don't want wires everywhere. So it is important that you tuck all the wires in a good place. And I got 2 little bolts on there, that's all. It's actually 2 little screws, and that is it. They're actually wooden screws, and that is it. So that camera is set. The light is, if you're in a car, you're about at this height. So this camera here is not in the way. Now I need to connect the wires before I start putting everything back, and make sure that the unit is working the way it should before I button everything up. So that's going to be my next step, is to wire it so that it's getting current, and then test it. Okay, so we're going to try this. I have one hand on the camera, so everything is wired up. This is a accessory cover that is recommended for rain. I also bought the accessory film protector. One guy said that he scratched it and he wished he would have bought that first. So, you know what they say. If you can learn from somebody else's experience, you're a step ahead of the game. So here we go. We're going to kick it on for the first time. See what happens. Okay, we're going to go through the prompts. English, and I am blinded. UTC, I have no idea where I'm at. Where am I at? Where is UTC New York time? That would be 4, -4. UTC, -4. Nope. One more. UTC -4. Please connect to the Wi-Fi network. It has done its update, and a few things have to be programmed correctly. For example, the cameras. The back one's upside down. I believe it's this one. Nope, that's CarPlay. That's the front. No, that's the back. The back is fine. The front one is upside down. And there's the other one. There's the back one. And that's the back. And that's the front. And I have to flip it. What else? Does it have any other features? Did that one. Stop recording. I don't know what down means. DNV, back, storage, update, reset, features, headset, GPS, tutorial, OBD, now, CarLink, CarPlay. I will have to connect it to my phone, but that's the next step. I'm not worried about that right now. So I'm going to shut it off because I could hear the fuel pump, and it's not good to let them get hot. So that is it for now, but that's what you see. Okay, so instruction wise, on a KTM and possibly your bike as well, I want to be clear that 99% of the wires are up front. They're right here. There is nothing back there except the camera cable. So the rear camera, now if you don't have a rear camera, 100% of your wires might be up front. Now, on the KTM, and your bike can do this as well, I believe, is I have all the power I need here. I have the accessory as well as the direct power 100% from the battery. So there is no need to have any wires from the neck back. Everything is happening right here, right below the unit itself. And that doesn't matter which of the Chigees you have, because they require the same type of power. So, and another thing, if you have this bike, this is the hand warmer plugs. So if you want to add hand warmers to your bike, that is the plug right there. If you have a KTM, be it 10, 11, or 1290, that's where the hand warmer plug is. That's what that is. And I believe, and I can't say this with 100% certainty, but I believe once you have that hooked up, you toggle through here to turn on and off your hand warmers. That's the information that I received. Now, I haven't tried it, but now we know how it works. So now I've run all my wires, I tested the unit. All I have to do is wrap all of this up. The wire that was coming from the back is tied, it's secured, and all I have to do is tie all this rat's nest up, as they call it, which there's a lot of wire here. Look at this one. This one's super long. That's the power one. And stick it in there so that the headlight can go on, and that is it. I'm done. Start putting things back so that I can then either work on the front tire or the fuel pump. Now, one of the sides to this bike that I really don't like is this bike does not have an accessory toggle, if you will. In other words, you can't turn your key to accessory only. And that's why I couldn't leave it on for too long to mess with this. I guess you can pull the fuse on the fuel pump, which I have not looked to see which one that is. Here's the fuses here. One of the things that I've heard many times is, and that's why you don't let your car or motorcycle run low on fuel, is that you don't want your fuel pump getting hot. And this fuel pump, while I had that switch on, was, you can hear it constantly looking for fuel. So I believe once it finds fuel, it kind of shuts off. But as it's looking for fuel, it is constant. It is just trying to get fuel. So I had to do it in spurts to be able to set up my Chigee. Anyway, you can put the fuel tank on. That's one method. So once you know that you got power to this and both your cameras are working, you can put your tank back on, hook everything up, and like that you can then turn it on and make it work like that. So anyway, just giving you some pointers on whatever bike you're working, but I am working on an 1190. So it's time to start putting things back together and then work on the other two important items. Well, we've come to the end of this video, and as always, I want to thank you for being here and riding along with me. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like. It really helps the channel out. And if you haven't yet subscribed, consider hitting that button and joining the Bronx Brothers family. We got a lot more coming up, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. Now in the next video, I'll be finishing up a few more projects on this bike. I got a new fuel pump going in, swapping out the front tire, and just making sure everything's dialed in and road ready. Once that's done, we're hitting the road again, this time heading out to the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. We'll be carving through Back of the Dragon and some of those incredible twisty mountain roads that feel like roller coasters, up, down, side to side, the kind of riding that reminds you why we do this in the first place. But that's not all. After the mountains, I'll be taking the bike solo off-road and jumping onto the Mid-Atlantic BDR. That's right, some proper adventure riding, dirt, gravel, and all the unpredictability that comes with it. It's gonna be raw, it's gonna be real, and I promise you it'll be worth watching. So be sure to stick around and catch those upcoming episodes. I'll be documenting everything, sharing the highs, the challenges, and of course the beauty of riding through places most people never get to see. Thanks again for spending time here with me. You all take care, watch out with the crazy people on the roads, and I will catch you on the next one. Adios.